Gee, if only there was something to talk about around these parts. Mel Tucker's team fights back at Brenda Tracy with some damning communications. Katin Houser very well could be the starter on Rutgers. We have pretty good sources that say so. Urban Meyer to MSU discourse, and then yes, the next 5 years of Big Ten opponents. Let's go.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Terms and conditions. You got that right, Buster. They apply. Spartan friends, Spartan family, Locked On Spartans listeners, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Spartans, your team in green and white every single day. And my head is already starting to spin with everything going on in East Lansing. We are supposed to chat with Brian Smith, recruiting expert of Locked On today. It was going to be a nice little pleasant conversation about the state of recruiting, and then wha-bam, skaboom, like it, just car accidents and fireworks everywhere. We have a packed show today from Mel Tucker all the way to the next 5 years of opponents for Michigan State. We're going to start with this Mel Tucker stuff because, yes, the Title IX investigation and the hearing is ongoing. And, well, Mel Tucker's team, they have some things to say and undig about Brenda Tracy that we are going to get to. Now, the first thing first, Mel Tucker is not going to appear at the hearing due to a serious medical condition. I'm not even going to joke about that or anything. I just hope everything's okay with him. Hope he makes it out healthy. Okay, look, he's not an absolute monster. He's just a guy that made some questionable phone calls. So, yes, we're hoping for the best for Mel Tucker here if everything about this is as serious as they are making it out to be. Now, let's get to the statement that Mel Tucker's team has come out with on the fine morning of Thursday. They have dug up 20,000 pieces of communication with Brenda Tracy, emails, text messages, many of them to her friend that has passed away recently, Miss Alvarado, where she said a lot of things about her relationship with Mel Tucker and, well, another coach outside of East Lansing. Luckily, we got that going for us at least. But yes, in the statement, they said that, quote, Miss Tracy pulled the wool over the university's eyes and maligned Mr. Tucker's reputation for personal gain. All right, well, let's get into that. This is what they are claiming after obtaining, again, 20,000 pieces of communication. They said that in her statement that she has admitted to another relationship with another, quote, high-profile coach. That is a basketball coach. And I think the term high profile is a little loose, but hey, you know what? Good for that coach to be considered a high profile coach if it is who we are, being told that it is. I cannot go on the record and say it, but if you try hard enough online, you can find who it is. She also admitted to being down to $5 to her name. She also referred to herself as, quote, the victim against a $95 million head coach. You can figure out who that is. That is Mel Tucker. And also referred to herself as, quote, the good victim at times. Also admitting that her profession is, quote, professional crying when I share my story. That's a lot to throw out there. That is a lot of, I think we'll call it evidence for now, because again, 20,000 pieces of communication combed through by Mel Tucker's team here, all brought forward that, yeah, this is some pretty damning stuff against Brenda Tracy. Now, what does all this mean? Like, in the light of the Title IX hearing, all this evidence, yada, yada, yada. What does all this mean? I think I'm comfortable enough to start saying this on a camera and a microphone now, because in conversations in the past, private conversations, when I'm just, talking with friends, family, I've just brought this question out there, hey, what if this is just between two people that are kind of train wrecks, so to speak? What if both people are just kind of spiraling out of control here? Again, I'm not saying that's for sure what is happening here, but just what if? Let's just plant that seed into everyone's head right now. With all the evidence that was just brought up by Mel Tucker's team, with everything that we already do know about the case to begin with, and that's not even getting into all the off-the-record stuff, I think it's safe to say that, yeah, this is just two characters that, might just have a little bit of things going on here. And, well, aren't they just perfect for each other? Now, I will say this as well. No, I'm sorry that this still doesn't absolve Mel of anything that he did. I'm sorry, but at the end of the day, you are still on the record admitting to investigators that, yes, you did have some phone sex with Brenda Tracy, who may or may not be credible after all of this, but at the end of the day, with her profession and her being a vendor of the school, I'm sorry, it doesn't make it right. It still means that, yeah, with that morality clause in effect, you did embarrass the school, and you certainly did something that you weren't supposed to in the first place. And this is something that we have maintained up and down throughout this whole saga, is that, hey, even if Mel Tucker's story is entirely correct, if Brenda Tracy is just some sort of con artist, let's say that, everything that Mel has said is 100% true. At the end of the day, still an improper relationship that you cannot have as a $95 million head coach of a school, being one of the highest paid, if not the highest paid employee in the state. Them's the breaks. So yeah, certainly this is going to be very, very far from being over here. This is going to be messy. I don't know why I keep saying it's going to be messy. It already is messy, but yeah, let's just stay tuned to see where it goes from here. All right, another piece of news here, and this was, kind of percolating amongst the message boards on twitter.com as well, and yours truly, I've heard it from like 3 or 4 different people now. I've heard from the 4th person very recently, actually, that Katin Houser is going to be named the starter here against Rutgers. Now, nothing official has been said by the team, but we kind of saw it alluded to by Harlan Barnett after the latest game. Of course, the 3rd game in a row where combined over those 3 games, just 1 offensive touchdown drive was put together by Noah Kim, the starting quarterback. I hate to say it because, look, Noah Kim, by all accounts, great kid. I mean, I hope the best for him, and maybe he gets another shot during the season. But right now, flipping the page to Katin Houser. Don't know if or when it'll be formally announced. Maybe they'll take it all the way to kickoff against Rutgers in Piscataway. But yes, you can expect a changing of the guard here. Now, why does this make sense? It doesn't take some analyst or some, hardcore X's and O's guy to tell you that things were not really working here the last 3 games. Again, I'll say it one more time because no stat, sings the song better than this. 1 offensive touchdown drive in the last 3 games with Noah Kim as the starter. And if you've listened to the show, look, you've heard me say that it's not all on Noah Kim. There were some drop passes, untimely penalties, some odd personnel groups, some weird play calling. But hey, still, this isn't just a 1 game, 1 offensive drive thing. We need a different spark here, and it's going to come with Katin Houser. So, look, I don't know if this changes the likelihood of Michigan State winning 4 more games this season to get to a bowl game. I truly don't, because Katin Houser, well, we have seen some flashes where you can see that 4-star in him. He's made some really good throws. He's a bigger body, strong runner, of course. We've also seen the pass against Central Michigan, which should have been an interception. We have seen the interception inside the 10-yard line very recently against Maryland as well. So, look, does it change the trajectory of this season? Will it be an instant switch as to, yes, Michigan State's going to start scoring 5 touchdowns a game? No, I can't honestly guarantee that. But however, it does increase the chance of keeping one of these 4 stars on the roster, whether it be Katin Houser or Sam Levitt, of course. Imagine we go the rest of the season with Noah Kim as the starter. Okay, at the end of the year, with the coaching regime changing, I think it'd be in MSU's best interest to at least, persuade one of these 4 stars to stick around here, because I think we're closer to Noah Kim's ceiling where it's at right now than we are to either of the other 4-star ceiling right now. I think that's fair to say personally. Let's just start working our way towards that ceiling. Will there be some bumps in the road? Yes. Will there be some losses? Yes, because it's not just the 4 winnable games. I'm using serious air quotes around winnable games, and that's Minnesota, Nebraska, Indiana, and Rutgers. But you also have those 3 games against Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan. It is going to be a tough end to the season. But hey, no losses in life, right? Only lessons. So hey, hopefully one of these new kids can start picking up some lessons here. It looks like it will be Katin Houser. So get ready for that. I know that there have been a lot of people in the Team Katin Houser camp for quite some time. And yeah, I totally understand why you would be. But yes, your day is coming here. So congratulations to Team Katin Houser. It is coming. That's right. Better days ahead for you guys as well. Now, we're going to switch it up to some Urban Meyer talk, of course, because the day ends in Y. Why wouldn't we talk about that here in a hot segment? First, need to talk your ear off about LinkedIn jobs. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available, and that's why you have to go check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and, my favorite part, for free. What you're going to do? Well, you're just going to create a job on your profile. It's so easy. Even a schmuck like me can do it. Then add the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you are hiring. It is why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. The whole process, just super simple. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. So what are you waiting for, gang? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That is linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Also, if you want to look the best the rest of this season, or hey, going right into basketball season, it's all about homefieldapparel.com. Now, I've talked up and down lately about the logos that they have, which, by the way, go to homefieldapparel.com and feast your eyes on some MSU logos that you may have never seen before. They are the best vintage line out there. We've already talked about how great you'll look. How about how you're going to feel, though? Because every time I slip on a home field t-shirt, long sleeve t-shirt, a sweatshirt, or a hoodie, or hey, even a hat I just got in the mail the other day, it is like an angel is caressing your body. It is the most comfortable clothing in my closet. So go feast your eyes on their logos and then treat your body to their wonderful apparel at homefieldapparel.com, and also treat your wallet with promo code LOS23. That is LOS23 for 15% off of your first order. Again, promo code LOS23 for 15% off of your first order at homefieldapparel.com. All right, well, it's been about 3 hours since we've talked about Urban Meyer to MSU, so I'm already breaking out in hives over here. And let's talk about this, because some credible people have weighed in on the Urban Meyer to MSU talk. And by that, we just simply mean having conversations with MSU. Again, this man is not in Scandalera Center right now, penning a contract for the next 10 years for $200 million. No, this is just merely conversations. And the fact that there may or may not have been conversations between the two has fired up a lot of the fan base, kind of myself included. Now, the man who has stoked a lot of flames online with his reporting goes by the name of Bernie Fratto. Bernie Fratto. I hope I'm saying that name. It might be Fratto. Bernie, I'm very sorry if I'm butchering your name, but he does work for Fox Sports Radio. He's been in Michigan for quite some time here, and he tweeted out a few days ago, "My best mole tells me Urban Meyer will interview with Michigan State for their head coaching position. Stay tuned. Yes, it's real. It's possible. He has a lot of backers, so we'll see where this goes." Now, like many people, I was not hip with Bernie's work. I didn't think he was that really credible, because he also started that statement with an emoji with hard eyes in it. And like every good reporter, you always got to start a tweet with some hard eyes on you. But then other people in the know have gone to back him up. And it has come out that he knew about like Mel Tucker's extension way before anyone knew, and a lot of other stories with Michigan State. So Bernie Fratto might be in the know here. All right. And he also wanted to reiterate this as well, which again, I will keep hammering home. I think it's important to say this. He said, "For what it's worth, I'm not predicting Urban Meyer to MSU, but I steadfastly trust my source that he was in East Lansing earlier this week. Talk amongst yourselves," he said. Now, Bruce Feldman, a name that many college football fans know. This is a national guy. All right. He had to weigh in on this as well. He tweeted out about the quote reports linking Urban Meyer to the Michigan State head coaching job. "I just checked with him. There is zero truth to it. With him being a candidate for it, he has no interest in that and is happy with what he is doing now at Fox Sports." Let's all put in a VHS tape right now and hit that rewind button really quick. Let's just, indulge in this for a little bit here. Hey, before he took the Ohio State job, what did he have to say about that? Was he going to be in Columbus? Was he going to take that job? Well, he said back then, quote, "I have not been offered a job, nor is there a deal in place." Well, just wait a few seconds there. And he did sign on with the Buckeyes. And I got to tip my cap to the Barstool MSU Twitter account for finding that quote as well from back in the day. But yeah, sometimes when a coach says, "No, I'm not interested. Come on. No, I'm not a candidate," they could very well certainly be a candidate, okay? And yes, Bruce Feldman, very trustworthy source, but has he said stuff that has turned out to not be accurate before? Yeah, sometimes, of course. Every good reporter has had those moments. Bruce is, cream of the crop. He hits home runs on a lot of stories. But he also said that like Pat Narduzzi and, oh God, who's the other coach? We're going to be at the top of the list for Michigan State with this head coaching candidacy, which has already been kind of sort of debunked here. So who knows who's telling the truth? Who knows who's lying? But what we also do know is, and this is from Jay Kuda on Twitter as well, he sniffed this out, tweeted this out, that, hey, a jet with a tail number is flying to Lansing yesterday, on Wednesday this would be. The same jet that was in Cincinnati 2 weeks ago. What was 2 weeks ago? Oh, that's right. It was Big Noon Kickoff. Who's on Big Noon Kickoff? Is it one Urban Meyer? So who knows? There's someone out there that claims that they saw two jets from Lansing fly down to Sarasota. That is where Urban Meyer supposedly also lives. So, who knows? It is going to be a circus. Keep your eye tuned on it. God. I'm having fun. In a sick way, I am having fun. Now, we're going to go to the odds board over here out in Vegas. This was published about a week and a half ago, but this is the most updated odds board for the Michigan State head coaching role. All right, so the leader in the clubhouse. Don't yell at me. This is just what Vegas is telling you. Jason Candle, Toledo head coach at plus 400. Then Pat Narduzzi, plus 450. Matt Campbell, Iowa State head coach, plus 500. This is a gross list of names so far. Now we're going to start getting into some fun names. Lance Leopold, plus 600. Pat Shermer, who's an analyst right now at Colorado, plus 700. Jim Leonard, plus 800. Mike Tressel, plus 800. Chris Kleiman, who denied any connection to the Michigan State job, plus 900. Harlan Barnett, keeping him around at plus 10 or plus 1,000, I should say. Brian Hartline at plus 1,200. Mike Elko, plus 1,300. Pretty steep odds for a guy that I personally think is going to be in the driver's seat for this role. PJ Fleck, plus 1,400. Sean Lewis, the offensive coordinator of Colorado, plus 1,500. Jonathan Smith, plus 1,800. Mark Stoops, plus 2,000. Then Mark D'Antonio, plus 3,000, which I think is way better odds than he should be getting. I would put plus 3 million on Mark D'Antonio coming back here as a full-time head coach. But yeah, that's just me. Right now, I know this is a fluid situation. I keep changing this every time we talk about it. But in no particular order, my top three is going to be Jonathan Smith, the head coach over at Oregon State. I'll keep saying this every single time his name is brought up. There should be absolutely, positively no reason for Corvallis, Oregon to have a top 25 program in their city. He has done wonders to the Beavers program, and it's going to be a little bit of a rebuilding situation here at Michigan State. This man knows a thing or two about it. Same with Lance Leopold. I know he's older. He's approaching 60, but I would not mind a guy just getting here for 5 years, providing some stability amongst all the turbulence that is going on right now. And then the third guy I would just throw on the wall right here. Oh man, Mike Elko. I know. I'm trying not to get my hopes up too high for Mike Elko, but yeah, that's the top three right there. All right, we're going to be talking about Big Ten opponents here in a hot second because, yeah, we got our next 5 years worth of opponents in front of us thanks to the Big Ten. But first, need to talk your ear off about FanDuel Sportsbook. That is right, gang. FanDuel.com/locked on. And if you're a new customer, hey, you get $200 in bonus bets, win or lose, when you place a $5 bet. So if you're getting fired up for MLB playoffs, if you like this Saturday's college football slate, or hey, if you want to get in on the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, now is the best time to do it because, again, I'll say it again, $5 gets you $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there is no better time to get in on the action. The app is super easy to use, and there's a wide range of betting options, including the spreads, player props, over-unders, first touchdown scores, or hey, my personal favorite, same game parlays. So visit FanDuel.com/lockdown and kick off the NFL season. It's FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. All right, remember when the Big Ten had their next few years of schedules all wrapped up, ready to go, and then, hey, surprise, it's us. It's Washington and Oregon. They had to blow all that up, and they delivered on Thursday morning. The next 5 years worth of Big Ten opponents, of course, your Michigan State Spartans are included. And the first note we want to rattle off right at the top is that Michigan State versus Michigan will be a protected rivalry for the next 5 years. So that is going to be the one constant in the next 5 years. It's, of course, going to go home and home. But let's go through it really quick, year by year. Next year, yes, Michigan State already has Florida Atlantic. They have Louisiana, and they have Boston College. That's all the non-conference. But next year, and we don't have the dates yet. That'll come out, I'm sure, later this spring or summer. But the away teams for next year in the conference, Illinois, Michigan, Maryland, Oregon. At home, it's going to be Indiana, Iowa, Ohio State, Purdue, and Rutgers. Which, let's pause right here. Let's talk about the 2024 schedule. As many state fans know right now, could be tough sledding here for a little bit. The first-year head coach next year is going to have, well, some issues to work through here. But hey, I got to say, all things considered, for a first-year head coach amongst a rebuild with some solid players intact, should they still stay at Michigan State, I can name a lot worse schedules than the 2024 schedule. Now, the away, yeah, sure, you have Illinois, you have Maryland. I can name harder places to play than that. However, going to Michigan and Oregon, those will be two tough games, no question about it. But however, at home, Indiana, Iowa, Ohio State, Purdue, Rutgers, I mean, 4 out of 5 of those teams are winnable games, especially at home, even though you're under a rebuild here at Michigan State. So yeah, the Indiana, Iowa, Purdue, and Rutgers game, that's kind of favorable, I got to say. And then with the non-conference of Florida Atlantic and Louisiana at home, and then also at Boston College, which I'm sorry, no disrespect to the Golden Eagles out there, but Doug Flutie ain't walking through the door anytime soon. It's a manageable schedule for a first-year head coach. So let's get to the other 4 years here. 2025, your away games are Indiana, Iowa, Minnesota, Nebraska, USC. Your home games are Maryland, Michigan, Penn State, and UCLA. Okay, that's okay. There's some good and some bad there. 2026, your away games are Michigan, Rutgers, UCLA, and Wisconsin. Your home games are Illinois, Nebraska, Northwestern, Oregon, and Washington. So 2 West Coast teams coming in 26. In 2027, your away games are Northwestern, Ohio State, Penn State, Purdue, and Washington. Your home games are Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Rutgers. Okay, not too bad, or is it? I don't know. We'll get to that in a hot second. 2028, to wrap it up, your away games are Illinois, Michigan, Maryland, Oregon, and then your home games are Iowa and USC. So again, you play Michigan 5 times in the next 5 years. Now, the teams you play 3 times in the next 5 years are going to be Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Maryland, Penn State, Purdue, Rutgers, and Oregon, which not bad. And the teams that you just played twice, Minnesota, Nebraska, Northwestern, Ohio State, UCLA, USC, Wisconsin, and Washington. It is nice that you just see Washington, should they continue to be this good under Kalen DeBoer. When Michael Penix maybe eventually leaves, I don't know. He might be able to stick around until 2028, but who's to say? Washington, USC, and Ohio State just being on your schedule twice in the next 5 years, I don't hate that, actually. I truly don't hate that. And the teams that you play 3 times, like, that's a pretty good slate. Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Maryland, Penn State will be tough, but Purdue, Rutgers, Oregon will be good as well. But all things considered, I think Michigan State made out pretty okay here. And also, I know that was a lot of names, a lot of numbers I just threw at you guys, but this means Michigan State heads out west just once per year. In the next 5 years, they do not have a year where they're flying to UCLA, flying back home, and then 2 weeks later, we got to go to Washington. Like, no, there is just one West Coast game per year, which not terrible. You know, that's the only thing that hurts is MSU fans frequent flyer miles, really. So, I mean, we like seeing that as well. Now, what is the hardest year of the bunch? You can talk yourself into any of these 5 years being the hardest year, except maybe 2024. I think that would be a tough argument to make. But 2027 is going to be a little difficult. And I know that what I'm doing right now is maybe a little ridiculous because this is like 3 or 4 or sometimes in cases 5 years down the road. But hey, let's just, for sake of conversation, your away games are Northwestern, Sweet. Okay, that's good. But then it doesn't get any easier after that. You have to go to Columbus. You have to go to Penn State. The Purdue game will be manageable. Let's just all forget what happened in 2021. And then Washington. So 3 very, very, very tough away games. And then your home games, Michigan, of course, Wisconsin, I'm sure will be a good team. But then Rutgers and Indiana. So I guess the hardest one, 2027 in my book, of course. But then the easiest, it could be 2024. It could be the next year, although 2025 might have something to say about that. Your away games, Indiana, Iowa, Minnesota, Nebraska. Who knows how well Matt Rule will be doing at Nebraska in his 3rd year with the system. He does flip teams around by 2 or 3 years normally. But yeah, so that will be interesting to see. USC, of course, that'll be a hard game. It doesn't matter where that game is, whether it's home or away. The Trojans will always be a tough out. But then the home slate of Maryland, Michigan, Penn State, and UCLA, I don't hate that for 2025. So yeah, it's fun times here. I can't imagine how difficult that was for the schedule makers of the Big Ten, because when they came out after they added USC and UCLA, it was like, oh my God, this is so hard to make last minute. Hey, here are the next 2 years worth of schedules. And then again, the Ducks and the Huskies kind of crash the door down like the Kool-Aid man and say, hey, we're here as well. How about you go make those schedules again? Oh boy, that had to have been some sleepless nights with a lot of Red Bull or Celsius or just hard drugs. Who knows, for the Big Ten schedule makers. So hats off to them to iron that out. And thanks for making us just travel out west once per year and giving 2024 like a manageable schedule, as manageable as you could possibly hope. All right, gang, we will be back here in a hot second. No, I'm sorry, not a hot second. No, we're done for the week. What am I saying? I'm sorry. Starting to lose it over here. My head is spinning. But hey, we will be back this weekend. We're going to drop our conversation with Brian Smith, Locked On Recruiting Expert. We're going to talk about Nick Marsh's latest comments after his Colorado visit as well. And then just like how to even follow recruiting as a Michigan State fan right now, because I don't know, this is kind of uncharted waters. It's a very odd time to be a recruiting watcher as a Spartan fan. But hey, you know what, Brian Smith, it's always great conversation with him. But until that episode drops this weekend, hey, take it easy. Enjoy your weekend. Love you all. Go Green.